Hi again, my name is Rodney Reynolds, and this is video review number 6 for July the 24th, year 2000. Today I'll be looking at the Abit KA7 motherboard and the AMD 750 MHz CPU. I'll be looking at how high this motherboard can actually overclock this 750 CPU. First, I'm going to swing over and have a look at the motherboard and the CPU together. So let's just do that. Okay, what we're looking at here is the inside of the case. This is, of course, the Abit KA7 motherboard. And if we look at the CPU here, I have actually taken the back off of the CPU in order to be able to put a GFD on top to be able to overclock the Athlon CPU. This is a cheapo cooler with 2 fans. And I've actually mounted it with screws directly to the heat transfer plate on the CPU. And I'm sure you're all wondering what this will actually go to. Well, without the GFD on the CPU, I've managed to go to around 840. So that's pretty okay. But with the GFD on there, I'm able to go to 930 megahertz. However, at that kind of speed, I need to have an extra 4 fans blowing on the CPU just to keep it cool. So, and the case would have to be open as well. So it's a lot of noise to put up with continuously on a CPU. The other option, of course, would be to install a PLTA with some water cooling, and maybe even get it higher than 930. But overall, it's a good buy. It's around $320 a CPU. Heatsink will run you probably $20 or $30. This one here, of course, if you get PLTAs and water cooling, you're going to run into some extra costs.
Incoming file transfer.
Something else I should note, this system actually uses a 250 watt power supply, which supplies enough power for this AMD chip, besides a hard drive, a CD-ROM, a floppy, and 3 cards, a sound card, NIC, and a video card, and it's quite happy at that. Now, if of course you go to PLTA, you're going to need maybe a 300 or even a 350 watt power supply for this AMD CPU. This is the GFD by Lufkin Technologies. This is a little apparatus which will allow you to overclock the multiplier on any AMD Athlon regular based CPU. And of course it plugs in very simply like this, and then of course you would connect it to the power cable. This gives you of course great overclockability on the Athlon chips as long as you have massive amounts of cooling. You're fine, but if not, there's going to be problems. A lot of lockups, a lot of freezing, and even not overclocking the CPU, this generates massive amounts of heat off of this heatsink, even at 840. So the Athlon CPUs get really, really warm, if not hot, and you do need some great cooling. So again, overall, the AMD 750 CPU is a pretty good buy with a good heatsink fan combination. The Abit KA7 motherboard, however, is a little bit of a disappointment in the way that there was a /100 ATA100 drive motherboard released, if not a week after that this one was released. So a lot of people who bought the KA7 motherboards We're probably a little bit disappointed about the fact that the ATA100 hard drive motherboard was released very, very soon after. As well, another major problem is the booting into Windows 2000. I could not, for some reason, get this motherboard or combination of Athlon CPU and the motherboard to boot into Windows 2000. I'm not exactly sure why this is happening. It could need an update on the BIOS, but in any case, it is a major issue for people who want to use Athlon systems in this combination in Windows 2000. But overall, getting a 750 CPU at 930 megahertz, even with the GFD, is extremely high. So, what do I give the AMD 750? I would have to give it a 9 out of 10. It is extremely overclockable with a GFD. The Abit KA7 motherboard, I would have to get a 7.5 out of 10 due to the fact of incompatibility reasons, and a newer board was released a week later that was ATA 100 compatible. Something else I should note is that if you have a Voodoo 5 video card, you are not going to get great performance out of Athlon systems. From my experience and from other people's experience, a lot of the driver sets are written for Pentium 3 SoC technologies. So that was a little bit disappointing, but that is to be expected with the 3D Now not written into the 3DFX drivers as of yet, or not completely compatible in the sense of performance. So that should be noted. If you're a big-time 3D gamer, then you're probably not going to want to go with this combination system, although it is pretty cheap. Again, my name is Rodney Reynolds, and this has been another video review for 3dgameman.com. Next week, I'll be looking at a Sega Dreamcast on my audio video system. Quite impressive, actually, the Dreamcast. A lot of games being released. So stay tuned and look forward to the Dreamcast review next week.